I never let anyone into my basement office. 3 months ago, my daughter and son-in-law moved in temporarily while saving money to buy their own home. When my son-in-law started asking about my boring old files, I installed a biometric lock with a code only I knew. 2 months later, during a routine checkup, I came home early and saw him through the window, crowbar in hand, my file cabinet wide open, photographing every document. That's when I called my daughter. "Come home now, your husband just broke into my office." I had been preparing for this moment for weeks. Thank you so much for being here and staying with this story. Before we continue, I'd really love to know, where are you watching from today? Leave a comment below so we can say hello. And just a quick note before we move on, this is a fictional story created to explore human behavior, trust, and difficult choices within families. Some details are dramatized for storytelling purposes, and any resemblance to real people or places is purely coincidental, but the perspective it offers may still be worth reflecting on. The threat didn't walk through my front door. He married my daughter first. 8 months ago, I stood in a small chapel in Franklin and watched Nicole say "I do" to Brennan Pierce. I smiled. I hugged them both. I told him welcome to the family. I had no idea I had just invited a predator into my home. That morning, the morning everything unraveled, I stood in my driveway at 10:20, phone pressed to my ear, listening to my daughter's panicked voice. "Mom, you need to come home now. Brennan is in your office." But let me back up. My name is Barbara Whitman. I am 63 years old, a retired software architect, and a widow. My husband Richard died 7 years ago of a heart attack at 58. For 40 years, I built encryption systems for Fortune 500 companies. After Richard passed, I filed a patent for a new encryption algorithm. The patent was granted in 2019. 3 companies license it now. The royalties come in every month, $21,000 for 5 years straight. By the end of 2024, I had accumulated nearly $1.4 million. I never told Nicole. She is 27. She works as a marketing coordinator and earns $52,000 a year. She is smart, independent, and capable. I wanted her to build her own future, not inherit mine too soon. So I kept the money in accounts she didn't know about. I kept my basement office locked. And I kept my mouth shut. Until 8 months ago, when Nicole married Brennan Pierce. And 3 months ago, when they moved into my house temporarily. Their lease had ended. Brennan suggested they stay with me for 6 months to save money for a down payment on their own place. He smiled when he said it. He put his arm around Nicole. He called me Mom. I said yes, because he was family now. Nicole has always been independent. After college, she moved into her own apartment. She paid her own bills. She never asked me for money. Even after Richard died, she stood on her own 2 feet. I was proud of her. When she met Brennan, she was cautious at first, but he was patient, charming. He brought her flowers. He remembered the little things. And 18 months ago, when her coworker Vanessa introduced them at a networking event, Nicole thought she had finally found someone who understood her. 6 months later, they were engaged. I had reservations. I will not lie. The engagement felt fast, but Nicole was happy. And I had learned a long time ago that you cannot protect your children from every mistake. You can only be there when they need you. So I smiled. I helped plan the wedding. And I welcomed Brennan into our home. The basement office used to be Richard's workshop. After he died, I turned it into my workspace. I kept my files there. Patent paperwork, licensing agreements, quarterly royalty statements, my will, which I had updated 3 times in the last 2 years. I kept that door locked. Always. When Brennan moved in, he asked about it once. Just once. "What is behind that door, Mom?" I smiled. "Just my old office. Boring files. Nothing interesting." He smiled back, but his eyes lingered on the lock. That was 3 months ago. That morning, standing in my driveway with my phone in my hand, I knew what I would find when I got home. I knew because I had been watching him. I knew because my instincts, the ones I had honed over 40 years of building security systems, had been screaming at me for weeks. I knew because the threat had not just walked through my front door. He had married my daughter, and now he was inside my house, trying to take everything I had built. 18 months earlier, Nicole came home with a glow I had not seen in years. She dropped her purse on the kitchen counter and smiled at me. I met someone. I looked up from the newspaper. Her voice had that careful lightness people use when they are trying not to sound too excited. "Tell me about him," I said. "His name is Brennan Pierce. He is 31. He works as a financial consultant." Vanessa introduced us. Vanessa was Nicole's co-worker, a marketing consultant from Atlanta. She was friendly, energetic, and always organizing networking events. Nicole liked her. "We met at a mixer last week," Nicole continued. "Vanessa thought we would hit it off, and we did. Over the next 6 weeks, I heard his name more and more. Brennan took her to dinner at the Capitol Grill. Brennan remembered she loved daisies. Brennan asked about her day before talking about his own. "He sounds thoughtful," I said one evening. "He is," Nicole replied. "He really listens." 2 months after they met, Brennan started coming to the house. The first time he brought wine and tulips for me. He shook my hand firmly. He called me Mrs. Whitman. "Please," I said, "call me Barbara." He was polite. He asked about my career in software. He complimented the house. He helped clear the table after dinner without being asked. After he left, Nicole came into the kitchen. "So, what do you think?" I dried a plate slowly. "He seems very nice." No, just take your time." She laughed. "Mom, we have only been dating for 2 months. I am not marrying him tomorrow." But the relationship moved fast. By the 3rd month, they were spending every weekend together. Brennan started keeping a toothbrush at Nicole's apartment, then a change of clothes, then a drawer. By the 4th month, they were talking about the future. Nicole mentioned it casually one evening. "Brennan and I have been talking about moving in together. Maybe next year." I nodded. "That is a big step." "I know, but it feels right." I wanted to ask if 4 months was enough time to really know someone, but I remembered Richard's voice in my head. "Give people a chance, Barbara. Do not let fear make you cruel." So I smiled. I hugged her, and I said, "I am happy for you." By the 6th month, Brennan proposed. Nicole called me from a restaurant. "Mom, I have news." I could hear the tears in her voice. "He proposed. We are engaged." I closed my eyes. "Congratulations, sweetheart. We want a small wedding. Just family and close friends. Maybe in the spring." That sounds lovely. And I meant it. Because Nicole was happy. And isn't that what mothers are supposed to want? But late at night, alone in my house, I would lie awake and think about the way Brennan's eyes had lingered on the basement door, the way he had asked so casually how long I had lived here, whether I owned the house outright. Small questions, polite questions. Questions that felt like fingers testing the edges of a lock. The wedding was in May. Small and simple, just as Nicole wanted. Vanessa was her maid of honor. I walked Nicole down the aisle. I kissed her cheek. I welcomed Brennan into our family. And 3 months later, when their lease ended and Brennan suggested they move in with me temporarily, I said yes. Because he was my son-in-law now. Because I wanted to trust him. Because I wanted to believe I was wrong. But deep down I knew. I knew the moment he smiled and said, "Just for 6 months, Mom. We will be out of your hair before you know it." I knew because I had spent 40 years recognizing threats. And Brennan Pierce was the most dangerous kind. The kind that gets invited in. They moved in on a Saturday in late August. Brennan pulled up in his black BMW, the trunk and back seat packed with boxes and bags. I stood on the front porch with Nicole watching him unload. "Not much stuff," I said. Brennan grinned. "We are minimalists. Besides, we will have our own place soon enough." He carried 2 suitcases, a laptop bag, and 2 cardboard boxes. That was it. For a man in his 30s, he traveled light. Too light. I thought about Richard, how when we moved in together, he brought an entire truck full of tools, books, and furniture. A life accumulated over decades. Brennan had almost nothing. Either he was starting fresh or he was used to leaving quickly. Nicole showed him to the guest room upstairs. I heard them laughing, unpacking, settling in. I stayed downstairs and made iced tea. That first week, Brennan was the perfect house guest. He cooked dinner twice. Grilled chicken and roasted vegetables. He cleaned up afterward without being asked. He complimented everything. The house, the neighborhood, the coffee I made in the mornings. "You have a beautiful home," he said one evening. "Thank you. Richard and I bought it 23 years ago when Nicole was 4. It must be worth a lot now." I smiled, I suppose. "Have you ever thought about downsizing a place this size just for you?" I looked at him. "Not really. I like the space." He nodded. "Of course. Just something to think about down the road." I said nothing. But I noticed. I noticed the way he watched me when he thought I was not paying attention. I noticed how his questions always circled back to the house, to money, to my plans for the future. And I noticed the way he looked at the basement door. One afternoon, I was working in my office. The door was closed, but not locked. I had only stepped away for a moment to refill my coffee. When I came back, Brennan was standing at the top of the basement stairs. "Oh, sorry," he said. "I was looking for the laundry room." "It is upstairs," I said. "Second door on the left." "Got it, thanks." He smiled and walked away, but I stood there for a long moment staring at the basement door. He had been testing it. That night, I could not sleep. I went downstairs to the basement office and sat at my desk. Richard's photo was on the shelf, the one from our anniversary trip to the Smoky Mountains. I picked it up and traced the frame with my thumb. "Am I being paranoid?" I whispered. Richard had always been the optimistic one, the one who saw the best in people. He would have told me to give Brennan a chance, to not let fear turn me into someone I was not. But Richard was not here, and I locked the office door with the deadbolt. Then I went upstairs, searched online for electronic keypad locks, and ordered one for next-day delivery. The following morning, I installed it myself. 6-digit code, biometric backup, the kind of lock I used to design for corporate data centers. Brennan noticed immediately. "That is some serious security," he said, standing at the top of the basement stairs. I wiped my hands on a towel, just keeping my old files safe. What is in there anyway? Boring stuff. Tax records, old work documents. He smiled. "Maybe I will get a peek someday." "Maybe," I said. But I knew he would not. That week, I started keeping a mental log. Monday, Brennan asked how much property taxes were. Wednesday, he mentioned a financial advisor he knew who specialized in retirement planning. Friday, he asked if I had a will. Each question alone was innocent. Together, they formed a pattern. And I had spent 40 years recognizing patterns. By the end of that first week, I knew. Brennan Pierce had not moved into my house to save money. He had moved in to find out how much I had, and how to take it. By week 2, Brennan's questions became more direct. We were having dinner on a Wednesday evening. The conversation was light until he leaned back and said, "How long have you lived here, Barbara?" 23 years, I said. "We bought it when Nicole was 4. He nodded slowly. "The real estate market has changed a lot since then. This place must be worth quite a bit now." "I suppose. Have you ever had it appraised?" "Not recently." "You should. You might be sitting on a gold mine." Nicole laughed. "Mom does not need to sell. She loves this house." "I'm not saying sell," Brennan said smoothly. "I am just saying it is smart to know what your assets are worth, especially for estate planning." I met his eyes. "I will keep that in mind." But I did not miss the way his gaze flicked toward the basement door. The next day, he approached me in the kitchen. "Barbara, I have been thinking. You have lived here alone for 7 years. Have you thought about investment properties? Rental income can be a great way to build wealth in retirement." "I'm doing fine," I said. "Of course. I just thought with your background in tech, you might be interested in diversifying. I know people who specialize in real estate investment. I could introduce you." "That is kind of you, but I am not interested." He nodded, just wanted to offer. But his eyes lingered on me a beat too long. By week 3, the questions shifted again. I was washing dishes one evening when Brennan came downstairs. Nicole was upstairs on a work call. He leaned against the counter. "So what is behind that locked door?" I turned off the water. "My old office." "What kind of stuff do you keep in there?" "Files, tax records, work documents from my consulting days." "Sounds boring." "It is," I said. He smiled. "Maybe I will get to see it someday." "Maybe," I said, but I could see it in his eyes. The calculation, the patience of a predator. That same week, Nicole showed me a text from Vanessa. "How is it going living with your mom?" Nicole had replied, "Good. She is great. A little protective, but we are fine." Vanessa wrote back, "Moms are always overprotective, LOL. Just give her time. She will warm up to Brennan." Nicole looked at me. "She is right, you know. You are being a little hard on him." "I am not being hard on anyone," I said carefully. "You are. I can feel it. I just want to make sure you are happy." "I am happy, Mom." But I could see the seeds Vanessa was planting, the subtle undermining, the slow erosion of trust between Nicole and me. And I realized Vanessa was not just a coworker. She was part of this, That night, I went to my office and locked the door. I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. I pulled up my security checklist. Identify the threat. Map the attack vectors. Secure the perimeter. I wrote down everything. Brennan's questions about the house. His suggestions about investment properties. His interest in the locked office. Vanessa's texts. The way Brennan watched me. My engineer brain kicked in. Error detected. Pattern recognition triggered. Further investigation required. I changed every password. I enabled two-factor authentication. I checked my credit report. Nothing yet, but I knew it was coming. I looked at Richard's photo. He is going to make a move, I whispered. I just do not know when. Because I knew now. Brennan Pierce had not married my daughter because he loved her. He had married her because she was the key to everything I had built, and I was not going to let him take it. Week 5, Wednesday afternoon. I was at the grocery store when I realized I had forgotten my reusable bags. I turned the car around and headed home. 20 minutes, that was all. I pulled into the driveway and grabbed my bags from the garage. As I walked toward the front door, I heard it. A sound from the basement. Faint, mechanical. Someone was trying the office door. I moved quickly but quietly, down the hallway, down the basement stairs, and there he was. Brennan stood at my office door, his hand on the knob, twisting it slowly, testing the lock. He had not heard me coming. "What are you doing?" I said. He spun around. His face went pale for half a second before he recovered. "Oh, Barbara, you scared me." I crossed my arms. I asked what you were doing. He gestured vaguely toward the ceiling. I thought I heard a beeping sound, like a smoke detector. I was checking to see if it was coming from down here. "There is no smoke detector in my office," I said evenly. "The detectors are upstairs." He blinked. "Oh, my mistake." He moved toward the stairs, but I stepped into his path. "Brennan, that door is locked for a reason." He held up his hands. "I know, I was just trying to help." "I do not need help," I said. He nodded. "Got it, sorry." And he walked past me, up the stairs, and out of sight. I stood there for a long moment, staring at the door. He had tried to break in. Not forced entry, not yet. But he had tested the lock. And that meant he was planning something. The next morning, I drove to Home Depot. I walked straight to the security aisle and found what I needed. A Schlage electronic keypad lock, 6-digit code, tamper alarm, backup key override. I installed it myself. It took less than an hour. I programmed the code carefully. Richard's birthday, 031567. When I finished, I tested it 3 times. Then I locked the door and went upstairs. Brennan was in the kitchen making coffee. He glanced at me. "You were up early." I had some things to take care of. He poured a cup and leaned against the counter. "Anything interesting?" "Just upgrading some security," I said. His smile faltered for a fraction of a second. Security. I nodded toward the basement. I installed a new lock on my office door. Electronic keypad. Much more secure. He set down his coffee. "That is serious hardware. I have spent 40 years designing enterprise security systems," I said. "I know how to protect what matters." He smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. "What is the code?" I smiled back. "I am the only one who needs access. What if there is an emergency, a fire or something? Then I will call 911. They will break the door down if they have to." He stared at me. Then he nodded slowly. "Makes sense." But I could see it in his face. Frustration, calculation. He had been so close, and now I had locked him out. That night I went downstairs to check the lock one more time. As I came back up, I saw him. Brennan stood at the top of the basement stairs, staring down at the door. He did not see me at first. His face was blank, unreadable, but his eyes were fixed on the keypad. And I knew what he was thinking. How long would it take to crack a 6-digit code? How many combinations? How much time did he have before I caught him? I cleared my throat. He looked up, startled. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Yeah," he said. "Just checking on something." He smiled. I smiled back. But we both knew. The game had changed, and I was 3 moves ahead. By week 7, Brennan stopped pretending. He no longer asked polite questions. Instead, he offered advice. Unsolicited, persistent, aggressive. One evening he said, "Barbara, I have been thinking. You are sitting on a lot of equity in this house. Have you considered downsizing?" I looked up. "Not really." "You should. You could sell this place, buy a smaller condo, and live off the difference." "I am happy here," I said. He leaned forward. "You are 63. You have worked your whole life. You deserve to enjoy your retirement. Let me introduce you to a financial advisor I know. I appreciate the offer, but I am managing fine on my own." He smiled, but his jaw tightened, just trying to help Mom. The following week, he brought it up again. "Barbara, have you ever thought about a reverse mortgage?" I set down my coffee. "No. It is a great tool. You could pull equity out without selling." "I do not need a reverse mortgage," I said. He nodded slowly. "Okay, just an idea." But his eyes flicked toward the basement again. By week 8, he shifted tactics. Nicole mentioned it casually one evening. "Brennan thinks we should talk about estate planning, so everyone is on the same page." I looked at her. "What does that mean?" "Just making sure everything is set up properly. Wills, beneficiaries, that kind of thing." "My will is up to date," I said. "When was the last time you reviewed it?" 2 months ago." Nicole blinked. "You updated it 2 months ago." I nodded. "Why did not you tell me?" "Because it is my will, Nicole. Not something we need to discuss over dinner." She fell silent, but I knew Brennan had put her up to it. That night, I could not sleep. I sat in bed with my laptop and opened an incognito browser. I typed Brennan Pierce, Financial Consultant, Nashville. The first result was his LinkedIn profile. Professional headshot, polished bio, impressive credentials. But the account had been created 8 months ago, right before he married Nicole. I searched for his company website. Clean design, professional copy, stock photos. I reverse image searched the office photo. Unsplash. Free stock image. His entire online presence was a facade. I searched Brennan Pierce scam. Nothing. Brennan Pierce fraud. Nothing. I tried Reddit. And that is when I found it. A post from 2 years ago in r/relationships. The title, "My mom's boyfriend cleaned out her bank account. How do I help her?" The post described a man in his early 30s. Charming. Worked in finance. Moved in quickly. Asked about money. Convinced the woman to add his name to her checking account for emergencies. 3 months later, the account was empty. He vanished. The man's name was Brandon. Close enough. I kept scrolling. Another post, different user, same story. This time in Atlanta. I sat back and stared at the screen. Richard I whispered, "Am I being paranoid or am I debugging a con?" I already knew the answer. This was not paranoia. This was pattern recognition. And the pattern was clear. Brennan Pierce was not a financial consultant. He was a professional thief, and he had married my daughter to get to me. I closed the laptop. I picked up my phone. I Googled private investigator Franklin, Tennessee. The first result was Frank Delgado, former detective, 25 years in law enforcement, specializes in background checks and fraud investigation. I clicked on his website. I read his testimonials, and then I called. It rang twice. Delgado Investigations. "My name is Barbara Whitman," I said. "I need help." I called the private investigator Monday morning. I found his office online. Frank Delgado Investigations, located in Brentwood about 20 minutes from my house. The reviews were good, professional, discreet. I drove there after lunch. The office was small but clean. Certificates on the walls, a desk with organized files. Everything about the space said careful and methodical. Frank Delgado was in his 50s maybe, Hispanic, kind eyes. The handshake was firm but not aggressive. He gestured to a chair across from his desk. "What can I do for you, Mrs. Whitman?" "My daughter's boyfriend. I need to know who he really is." I told him everything. The questions about the house, the property value, the reverse mortgage suggestions, the locked office door, the fake website, the Reddit post about a man named Brandon. Frank took notes. He did not interrupt. He did not judge. When I finished, he set his pen down. "Your instincts are good. Why are you doing this?" I hesitated. My daughter is smart, independent. But I have lived long enough to recognize patterns. This pattern is wrong. Frank nodded slowly. Then he leaned back in his chair. 4 years ago, my daughter Carmen got engaged. Nice guy. At least we thought so. He convinced her to loan him $30,000, said he would pay her back. Then he disappeared. I am so sorry. I was a detective for 20 years, and I did not see it. That guilt, that failure, it is why I do this work now. He looked at me directly. I will not let it happen to another daughter. We shook hands. The agreement was straightforward. Background check, financial records, employment verification. He estimated 2 to 4 weeks. The retainer was $3,500. I paid in cash. When I got home, I went straight to the basement office. I spent the rest of the afternoon backing everything up. I photographed every document: the patent filing, the licensing agreements, the quarterly royalty statements, the investment account summaries, every single page. I created encrypted digital files. It is what I did for 40 years. I know how to secure data. I uploaded everything to a secure cloud storage account, password protected, two-factor authentication. Then I took the original patent documents, the most important papers, and drove them to my bank. I put them in a safe deposit box. If Brennan ever got into that office, all he would find were copies, and even those would not tell him the full story. I was not hiding anymore. I was fortifying. That night, I sat in the basement office and looked around. The file cabinets, the desk, Richard's photo on the shelf. I am doing the right thing, I told him. I know I am. Richard smiled back at me, frozen in time. I thought about Frank, about Carmen, about how many women had been in this exact position watching someone they loved fall for a man who was not real. I thought about Nicole upstairs, probably texting Brennan right now, probably telling him about her day, completely unaware that the man she loved was calculating how to take everything. I could not let that happen. Frank would find the truth, and when he did, I would have proof. Not just a feeling, not just a mother's paranoia. Proof. I locked the office door behind me. The electronic keypad beeped as I entered the code. I was ready. Now I just had to wait. Week 9, Thursday afternoon. I was in the living room when I heard them in the kitchen. Brennan's voice was low and persuasive. Nicole, we have been talking about this. It is a solid investment. I moved closer to the doorway just out of sight. Nicole sounded uncertain. I do not know Brennan. $50,000 is a lot. It is a commercial property in Brentwood, a small strip mall. The return is 12% annually. That is incredible. But we do not have $50,000. That is why we need a co-signer, someone with good credit and stable income. There was a pause. Then Nicole said, "You want me to ask my mom?" "Not ask," Brennan said gently. "Just explain the opportunity. She is smart. She will see the value." I stepped into the kitchen. They both looked up. "What is this about?" I asked. Brennan smiled. "Barbara, we were just discussing an investment opportunity." I looked at Nicole. "What kind of investment?" She hesitated. "A commercial property. Brennan thinks it is a good deal." "It is," Brennan said, "but the loan requires a co-signer, someone with established credit." I crossed my arms. "And you want Nicole to co-sign?" Brennan nodded. "Or you. Either way, it is a smart move." "Nicole," I said evenly, "can I talk to you in your room?" She looked at Brennan, then at me. "Mom, I am 27. I can make my own decisions." "I know you can, but I need to talk to you, alone." Brennan stood. "It is okay. I will give you two some space." He walked out to the backyard. Nicole turned to me. "What is this about?" "You are not co-signing a loan for him," I said. "Why not?" "Because you have known him for 18 months. You have been married for 8. That is not long enough to tie your finances to his. He is my husband. That does not mean you are responsible for his debts. It is not a debt. It is an investment." Nicole listened to me. "If something goes wrong, you will be on the hook for $50,000. Do you have that kind of money?" She looked away. "No." "Then you cannot afford to co-sign." She bit her lip. "You do not trust him." "I trust you," I said. "I do not trust him." Her eyes filled with tears. "You have never trusted him. Not from the beginning." "That is not true." "Yes, it is. You have been watching him like a hawk since the day we got married. You act like he is some kind of criminal." I took a breath. "I am protecting you." "I do not need protection," she said. "I need you to trust my judgment." I started to respond, but she held up her hand. "I am going outside," she said. "We will talk about this later." She walked past me and out to the backyard. I stood in the kitchen alone. Through the window, I could see them. Brennan put his arm around her. He leaned close and said something I could not hear. She nodded, and I knew exactly what he was saying. "Your mom does not want you to be independent. She wants to control you. You are 27 years old. You can make your own decisions." For the next 3 days, Nicole barely spoke to me. She answered in one-word sentences. She ate dinner in her room. She texted Vanessa constantly. One evening, I saw her phone light up with a message. "Vanessa, moms are hard sometimes, but you are doing great. He is lucky to have you. I closed my eyes. The silence in the house was unbearable. But it was necessary. Because if I did not stop this now, Brennan would take everything. And Nicole would be left with nothing but debt and a broken marriage. The silence hurt, but losing her would hurt more. Week 11, Frank called with news. Mrs. Whitman, I found someone, a previous victim. My heart jumped. Emily Crawford, in Houston. She is a senior nurse. She is willing to talk. Video call, okay. Yes, when? Right now, if you are free. I set up my laptop at the kitchen table. Frank connected us through a secure call. On the screen, a woman appeared. 40s, maybe. Kind face, tired eyes. Mrs. Whitman, I am Emily. Please call me Barbara. Thank you for agreeing to talk. When Mr. Delgado told me what was happening, I knew I had to help. She took a breath. I met him 2 years ago, on a dating app. His name was Brennan Walsh then. Same age range as what Mr. Delgado described. Same build, same job. Financial consultant. My hands went cold. He was charming, attentive. He remembered everything I told him. We dated for 3 months. He talked about the future, about building a life together. Then he suggested we combine finances. Not a joint account, he said. Just add his name to my checking account. For emergencies, in case something happened to me. She looked down. He said he wanted to be able to help if I ever needed it. I knew what was coming. One morning I woke up and checked my account. It was empty. $18,000. Gone. And so was he. The police could not find him. The case went cold. He had used a fake address, fake references. Everything about him was a lie. Her voice cracked. I am a senior nurse, Barbara. I am smart. I have a degree. I have years of experience managing emergencies. And I fell for it completely. He knew exactly what to say, how to make me feel special, how to make me feel like I could trust him. She looked directly at the camera. Please do not let him do this to your daughter. The call ended. I sat in silence. Frank's voice came through the phone. There is more. Another victim, Maureen, in Kentucky. What happened? There was a long pause. She took her own life, 8 months after he conned her. What? Lost her entire life savings. She was 52, bankrupt, depressed. Her family said she left a note. She blamed herself for being foolish. Frank's voice hardened. She was not foolish. She was hunted. I could barely breathe. This was not just about money. This was about destroying a person. Emily, who lost $18,000 and her ability to trust. Maureen, who lost everything and could not live with the shame. How many more were there? How many women had Brennan Walsh left broken in his wake? I thought about Nicole, 27 years old, smart, independent, full of life. I thought about her sitting in that car with Brennan believing his lies, believing I was the enemy. I thought about what would happen if I failed, if Frank did not find enough proof in time, if Brennan convinced Nicole to give him access to her accounts, or worse, to mine. I thought about Nicole finding out too late, the shame, the betrayal, the way it would break her. That could be Nicole, I whispered. Frank's voice was steady. That is why we will stop him. The report arrived Thursday afternoon, week 12. A thick envelope with Frank's logo. I carried it down to the basement office and locked the door behind me. I sat at my desk and opened it. The first page was a summary. The pages after were documentation, photos, records, proof. I read every word. Real name, Brennan Michael Walsh. Date of birth, March 15, 1993. 31 years old. Current residence, no permanent address. Employment history. No legitimate employment records on file. The financial consulting business was a shell. The website had been created 8 months ago using a template and stock photos. The business license was fake. Criminal record. No arrests. He was smart, careful. But there were 2 civil complaints filed against him in other states. Both settled out of court with non-disclosure agreements. Frank had found them anyway. Financial status, $60,000 in credit card debt. Filed for bankruptcy in 2020. No assets, no property, no savings. Vehicle, the BMW, was leased. He was 3 months behind on payments. Known victims. Emily Crawford, Houston, Texas. Senior nurse. $18,000 stolen from checking account. Rebecca Singer, 38, Atlanta, Georgia. Marketing executive, $25,000 taken through a joint investment account. Maureen Jennings, 52, Lexington, Kentucky, retired teacher, $40,000, life savings, deceased. Pattern of behavior. Targets women aged 35 to 60, financially stable, widowed or divorced, establishes romantic relationship, moves in quickly, isolates victim from friends and family, gains access to financial accounts, disappears. Known accomplice, female associate identity under investigation, believed to assist in reconnaissance and establishing initial trust with victims. I leaned back in my chair. Everything I suspected, everything I feared, confirmed. My daughter was dating a professional con artist who had been living in my house for 3 months. I picked up my phone and called Sandra Hoffman, my estate attorney. Sandra, I need to update my will today. Barbara, is everything okay? No, but it will be. Can you see me this afternoon? I can fit you in at 4. I drove to her office in Franklin. She met me in the conference room reading glasses on legal pad ready. What do we need to change? Everything. I want to set up a trust for Nicole. If something happens to me, she does not get a lump sum. She gets quarterly payments over 10 years, managed by you, no exceptions. Sandra looked at me over her glasses. This is about the boyfriend. Yes. Do you think you are in danger? I think if I die unexpectedly, I want to make sure he cannot touch a single dollar. She wrote notes. We can do that. A spendthrift trust with installment distributions. Even if Nicole tried to give him access, she could not. The trustee controls everything. Perfect. We spent an hour drafting the documents. I signed them before I left. Sandra walked me to the door. This is a smart precaution, Barbara. I hope you will not need it. I hope so too. That night, I could not sleep. I sat in the basement office staring at Richard's photo on the shelf, the one from our anniversary trip, his flannel shirt, his easy smile. He is going to make a move soon, I told the picture. He knows I am suspicious. He knows his window is closing. I thought about the pattern, the way Brennan operated. He moved fast once he sensed resistance. Emily had said he disappeared overnight. Rebecca never saw it coming. He would not wait much longer. I just do not know when, I whispered. But I was ready. The office was locked with a keypad he could not crack. The documents were backed up in the cloud. The originals were in a bank vault. My will was updated. Frank had the full report. If Brennan tried anything, I had proof. I had witnesses. I had a plan. I locked the office and went upstairs. The house was quiet. Nicole and Brennan were asleep in her room. I stood in the hallway for a moment listening. My daughter was in there with a man who had destroyed lives, and she had no idea. But soon she would. If you're still here with me, please leave a comment so I know you're still watching. The next knot in this story is about to be untied. But before it happens, I want to ask you, what do you think will happen next? If you were in my position at this exact moment, would you confront him immediately, wait silently, or let the truth reveal itself in the most unforgiving way possible? And just a quick note before we continue, the next part of this story includes some dramatized elements created for storytelling and educational purposes. Certain details may not be entirely factual. If this style isn't for you, you're welcome to stop the video here. Week 13. Wednesday morning, the day everything came to a head. I left the house at 8:45 for a routine doctor appointment, blood pressure check, 15 minutes away in Cool Springs. The appointment was quick, blood pressure fine, 120/75. I was out by 10. As I walked to my car, something hit me, a feeling, sharp and cold in my chest. Something was wrong. I heard Richard's voice in my head. Go home, Barbara, go now. I got in the car and drove faster than usual. I pulled into my driveway at 10:20. Everything looked normal. The house was quiet. Brennan's BMW was parked in its usual spot. But then I saw it. The basement window. Open. I got out of the car and walked across the grass. Quiet steps, my heart pounding. I moved to the side of the house and looked through the window. Brennan was inside my office. He stood at my file cabinet, phone in his hand, photographing documents. Papers were spread across the desk. My patent filing, licensing agreements, royalty statements. The keypad lock hung loose from the door frame. Pried off. A crowbar lay on the floor beside him. He moved quickly. Click, click, click. The flash lit up his face. My hands were shaking. I pulled out my phone and dialed Nicole. It rang twice. Mom, is everything okay? I kept my voice steady. Where are you right now? I am at work. I am in a meeting. Why? What is wrong? Come home right now. What, Mom? I cannot just leave. Nicole, come home immediately. You are scaring me. I looked through the window again. Brennan was still moving, turning pages, taking more photos. Brennan broke into my office. I am looking at him right now. Silence on the other end. What are you talking about? The basement office. He broke the lock. He is photographing my files. That does not make any sense. Brennan would not. Nicole. My voice was sharp now. I am standing in the driveway, looking through the window, seeing your husband photograph my financial documents. Come home now. I heard her breathing, fast, panicked. I am on my way. She hung up. I stood there, phone in my hand, watching him through the glass. He had no idea I was there. Part of me wanted to burst in, to confront him, to scream at him, to get out. But I waited. I wanted him to finish. I wanted him to think he had gotten away with it. I wanted him to believe he was safe. Because when Nicole arrived, when she saw this with her own eyes, there would be no excuses, no smooth talk, no manipulation. She would see exactly who he was. I moved back to the driveway and leaned against my car. I kept my eyes on that basement window. Inside, Brennan was closing file folders, straightening papers, trying to make it look undisturbed. But he had left the door open. He had been in such a hurry he had not thought about covering his tracks. Amateur mistake. Or maybe he was just desperate. Frank had been right. Brennan knew his window was closing. He knew I was suspicious. He knew time was running out. So he took the risk. And now he was going to pay for it. I heard a car in the distance, tires on pavement, moving fast. Nicole. I stood up straight. I took a breath. This was it. The moment I had been preparing for. The moment that would change everything. I watched Brennan through the window. He was putting the last folder back, closing the cabinet, checking his phone to make sure the photos had uploaded. He had no idea his world was about to collapse. I stood in the driveway waiting for my daughter, watching the man who had tried to destroy us commit the act that would be his undoing. 20 minutes after my call, Nicole's car screeched into the driveway. She jumped out and ran toward me. Mom, what is going on? I pointed toward the side of the house. Come on, I said. We walked around together. I knelt down at the basement window and pointed inside. Nicole crouched beside me. Her breath caught. Through the glass, we could see him. Her husband, in my office, phone in hand, papers scattered everywhere. Oh my God, her voice was barely a whisper. I stood. Let's go inside. We walked through the front door, down the hallway, down the basement stairs. The office door was open. The lock was destroyed. Scratch marks lined the wood. Nicole stopped at the bottom of the stairs. Her hand gripped the railing. I kept walking. Brennan looked up. For a moment, no one moved. Then Nicole stepped into the doorway. Brennan, she said quietly, what are you doing? He lowered his phone. I can explain. Explain what her voice was shaking. Why you broke into my mom's office. I did not break in. The door was open. I pointed at the ruined lock. You used a crowbar. He looked at the lock, then at me. Barbara, I think there has been a misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding, I said. I watched you through the window for 10 minutes. I saw you photograph my files. And now my daughter is here to see it too. Nicole took a step forward. Her face was pale. Brennan, why are you in here? He ran a hand through his hair. Nicole, your mom has been hiding things from us. From you. I was just trying to understand what was going on. Hiding what? He gestured at the papers. All of this. She has been keeping financial secrets. I thought you had a right to know. Nicole looked at the files spread across the desk, then at me. Her eyes were wide, confused. Mom, what is he talking about? I kept my eyes on Brennan. Delete the photos. He blinked. What? You heard me. Delete every photo you took, right now. Brennan shook his head. Barbara, I think we should all sit down and talk about this like adults. We are not talking, I said. You are deleting the photos or I am calling the police. Breaking and entering, trespassing, attempted theft. I am not stealing anything. These are just photos of private financial documents Taken without permission, that is theft of intellectual property. His jaw tightened. Nicole stepped forward. Her voice was stronger now. Brennan, just delete them. He looked at her. Are you serious? Yes, delete them. He stared at her for a long moment. Then he unlocked his phone and opened the photo app. He swiped. Once, twice, 3 times. All of them, I said. He kept swiping, deleting. His face was blank, but I could see the muscles in his jaw working. Nicole watched him, her arms crossed, her breathing shallow. When he finished, I said, now, the recently deleted folder. He glared at me. I held his gaze. He opened the folder and deleted everything again. Done, he said. Good, now get out. Nicole, he said, turning to her, you are not seriously going to let her talk to me like this. Nicole's voice was cold. You broke into my mother's office. You lied to me. You have been lying to me this whole time. He took a step toward her. Nicole, please, let me explain. She backed away. No. I have been working so hard to build a future for us. By stealing from my mother? It is not stealing. She has more than enough. She has been hiding it from you for years. I changed all the account numbers yesterday, I said quietly, and all the passwords. Whatever you saw in those photos, it is already useless. His face went white. Nicole looked at me. What account numbers? I will explain everything I said, but first he needs to leave. Brennan stood frozen. Nicole crossed her arms. You heard her. Get out. He looked at her, at me, at the ruined door. Then he turned and walked out. We heard his footsteps on the stairs. The front door opened and closed. Nicole and I stood in the wrecked office surrounded by papers and broken wood. And finally she knew. Her husband was not who she thought he was. And now finally Nicole knew it too. Nicole's voice when she spoke was different, colder. You are a con artist, she said. Brennan stood at the top of the basement stairs, one hand on the railing. He looked down at us. Nicole, please, let me explain. She walked up the stairs slowly. It is complicated. She stopped 3 steps below him. Are you a con artist? Yes or no? He opened his mouth, closed it. Yes or no, Brennan? He exhaled. It is not that simple. Yes, it is, she said. You either are or you are not. He looked past her at me. I crossed my arms and waited. Nicole, he said softly, I love you. Answer the question. I made mistakes. I admit that. But everything I did because I love you. Nicole's hands curled into fists. You broke into my mother's office. You tried to steal from her. I was not stealing. I was just trying to understand what she was hiding from you. She was not hiding anything from me. She was protecting me from you. That is not true. Then why did you marry me? His face flickered. Nicole took another step up. Why did you marry me, Brennan? Because I love you. Liar. The word landed like a slap. Brennan's expression hardened. You do not know what you are talking about. I turned to Nicole. Come downstairs, I will show you. She followed me back into the office. I opened the file cabinet and pulled out a folder. Inside were the documents Frank had given me. The private investigator's report. Nicole, I said gently, I need you to look at something. She took the folder and opened it. Her eyes scanned the first page, then the second. Her face went pale. Brennan Michael Walsh, she read aloud. Born March 15, 1993. No permanent address. No legitimate employment. Financial shell company registered 8 months ago. She looked up at me. 8 months ago. Right before your wedding, I said. She kept reading. Known victims, Emily Crawford Houston, $18,000. Rebecca Singer Atlanta, $25,000. Maureen Jennings Lexington, $40,000. She stopped. Maureen Jennings took her own life 8 months after he disappeared. Nicole's hands started shaking. Brennan appeared in the doorway. Nicole, that report is full of lies. Your mom hired someone to dig up dirt on me. She's been trying to turn you against me from the beginning. Nicole looked up at him. Is your real name Brennan Walsh? He said nothing. Did you marry Emily Crawford? I was young. It did not work out. Did you take $18,000 from her bank account? She gave me access to the account. That is different. Did you marry Maureen Jennings? His jaw tightened. Did she kill herself? That was not my fault. Nicole stood. Get out. Brennan took a step into the room. Nicole, please, just listen to me. Get out of my mother's house. This is our house too. We live here. No, she said. You do not live here anymore. You are leaving. Right now. I am not going anywhere until we talk about this. I pulled out my phone. Then I will call the police. Breaking and entering, trespassing, fraud. Brennan looked at me, then at Nicole. You are really going to let her do this? Nicole walked toward him. You lied to me. You married me to get to her. You used me. I love you. No, you do not, Nicole said. You love her money, and you thought I was stupid enough to give it to you. Her voice broke. But I see you now. I see exactly what you are. Brennan stood there, his mask finally cracking. Fine, he said. Fine, I will go. Good. But this is not over. Yes, it is, I said. You have 5 minutes to pack your things and leave. If you are not gone by then, I am calling the police. He glared at me. Then he turned and walked upstairs. We heard him moving around, opening drawers, throwing things into bags. 3 minutes later, he came down the stairs with the same 2 suitcases he had arrived with. He stopped at the door and looked at Nicole. I am sorry, he said. She said nothing. He opened the door and walked out. The BMW started, the engine roared, and then he was gone. Nicole stood in the hallway staring at the door. I walked over and put my arm around her. She collapsed against me and started to cry. I held her. The storm had passed, but the damage remained. An hour later, we went outside to the porch. The afternoon sun was low, warm light across the front lawn. We sat on the steps side by side. Nicole finally spoke. I was so stupid. No, you are trusting. There is a difference. I let him into your house. I defended him against you. I almost co-signed a $50,000 loan. But you did not. You listened when it mattered most. It was close. I was so angry at you. I know. Silence. Then she turned to me. Tell me about the money. I took a deep breath. After your father died, I filed for a patent, an encryption algorithm I had been working on for years. It was granted in 2019. 3 companies licensed it for their financial software. The royalties are about $21,000 a month. $21,000 a month. It has accumulated to about $1.4 million so far. She stared at me. Why did you not tell me? I chose my words carefully. Because your father and I always believed you should build your own life first. Stand on your own 2 feet. We wanted to help you later. Down payment on a house, a wedding, college funds for your future children. But not before you proved to yourself what you could do on your own. You did not trust me with it. I trust you completely, Nicole. I just do not trust the world around you. I gestured toward the driveway where Brennan's car had been an hour ago. And I was right. She thought about that. Is that why he targeted us for the money? He researched me. Public records. Patent databases. He saw I had assets. Then he found you. Getting to me through you was easier than approaching me directly. Her face crumpled. So none of it was real. He never cared about me. I chose my words carefully. I do not know. Maybe there were moments he felt it was real. Maybe he convinced himself it was. But it does not matter. What he did was wrong. How he used you was wrong. Was any of it real, Mom? Her voice broke. Or was I just imagining everything? I pulled her close. Your feelings were real. Your love was real. His actions made him the lie, not you. We cried together. After a while, she pulled back and wiped her eyes. What happens now? Now we decide. Do we go to the police? Do we press charges? Do we sue him? She was quiet for a long moment. If we do that, my name will be public. My coworkers will know. It will affect my career. People will think I am gullible, naive. I understand. I do not want that. Then we do not do it. I have the investigator's report. I recorded the confrontation earlier. If he ever comes back, if he tries anything again, we have proof. She looked at me surprised. You recorded it? I am a software architect, sweetheart. I document everything. She almost laughed, a small broken sound. I do not need your money, Mom. I never needed it. I just need your trust. You have it. You have always had it. And from now on, no more secrets. No more secrets. We sat in silence watching the sun sink lower. The neighborhood was quiet. A dog barked somewhere down the street. A car passed. Normal sounds, normal life. But everything felt different now. Nicole leaned her head on my shoulder. I really thought he loved me, she whispered. I know, sweetheart, I know. How do I trust anyone again? Slowly, carefully, but you will. Because what happened today does not get to define the rest of your life. It feels like it will. It will not, I promise. She was quiet. Mom? Yes. Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I was awful to you. You were not awful. You were in love. And he was very good at what he does. I should have listened to you sooner. You listened when it counted. That is what matters. We sat there as the sun set. The sky turned orange, then pink, then purple. Inside the house, the basement office still had papers scattered across the desk. The broken lock still hung from the doorframe. There would be time to clean that up later. Right now, we just sat together, two women who had survived. We are going to be okay, I said. Nicole squeezed my hand. Yeah, we are. 2 days later, Frank called again. It was Friday afternoon. I was in the kitchen making tea when my phone rang. Mrs. Whitman, there is one more thing. Brennan did not act alone. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? Can you come to my office? I need to show you something. I drove to Brentwood. Frank was waiting with a folder. He spread the documents across his desk. Phone records, highlighted calls to a Georgia number, frequent, almost daily. A payment transfer, $3,000 sent from Brennan's account to someone named Vanessa Hayes. The note said, "You're cut, babe." Then a photo, pulled from an old social media account dated 2021. Brennan and a woman at a restaurant, smiling, his arm around her. The woman was Vanessa. Vanessa Cole does not exist, Frank said. Her real name is Vanessa Hayes. I stared at the photo. Same face, same smile, Nicole's friend. The friend who introduced them. Yes, she is his accomplice. She scouts the targets, researches them, builds trust. Then she introduces Brennan. He closes the deal. Oh my God. I drove home in a daze. Nicole was in the living room working on her laptop. Mom, what is wrong? I sat down beside her. Frank called. He found something. I showed her the evidence, the phone records, the payment, the photo. Her face went pale. Vanessa. Her real name is Vanessa Hayes. She and Brennan have been working together for years. Nicole stared at the screen. She was my friend. She was my friend from the beginning. She set me up. I am so sorry, sweetheart. Nicole sat in silence. Her hands were shaking. Then she picked up her phone. What are you doing? Calling her. Nicole? She dialed, put it on speaker. The phone rang twice. A voice answered, cautious. Nicole. It was Vanessa. I know who you are. A pause, long, heavy. I figured Frank would find out eventually. Were you ever really my friend? Silence stretched. Then Vanessa spoke. Her voice was flat. At first it was just a job. And then it got complicated. Nicole's voice was shaking now. Do you love him? A bitter laugh came through the speaker. I thought I did. But he slept with you. He played the whole relationship out. That was not part of the plan. Nicole looked at me, eyes wide with disbelief. So you were jealous while he was scamming me. I know how it sounds. Where are you? Leaving town. You will never see me again. Nicole's voice went cold. Good. She hung up. For a moment, we just sat there in silence. Then Nicole looked at me. Everyone I trusted was a liar. Not everyone, I said. Not me. I know. She put her phone down, stared at the wall. She introduced us at that networking event. She suggested coffee. She asked about you, about the house, about your work. She was gathering information the whole time. Yes. And I told her everything. I trusted her completely. That is what they count on. Nicole's hands clenched into fists. She texted me after every fight we had, you and me. She told me you were overprotective, that I deserved independence. She was isolating me from you. I know. And the whole time she was in on it. She was helping him. I reached over and took her hand. You could not have known. I should have seen it. They are professionals, Nicole. They do this for a living. They are very, very good at it. She looked down at the photo on my phone. Brennan and Vanessa, smiling, partners. Were any of them real? She whispered. Was anyone in my life who they said they were? I am. She looked at me. Her eyes were red. I know, Mom. I know. We sat together in the quiet. Outside, the sun was setting. Another day ending. Another layer of betrayal peeled back. Is it over now? Nicole asked. Yes, it is over. Promise. Promise. She leaned her head on my shoulder, and we sat there holding each other as the last pieces of the lie fell away. 4 months later, spring had arrived. Nicole almost lost her promotion. The distraction from Brennan had pulled her focus, but she refocused, worked harder. Last month, she was promoted to senior marketing manager. She was more confident now, more cautious, more careful about who she trusted. Saturday morning, I visited Richard's grave at Harpeth Hills Memory Gardens. I brought tulips, his favorite. I sat on the bench beside his headstone and talked to him the way I always did. She's safe, Richard. You would be proud of her, of both of us. I did what you would have done, just with a little more computer forensics. I smiled. I miss you, but we're okay. We're going to be okay. A peaceful moment, the kind I had not felt in a long time. 3 weeks ago, Nicole joined a gym. Self-care, she said. She met someone there. Nathan Rivera, 32 years old. Physical therapist doing consultations at the gym. They talked casually. He gave her his card. If you ever need advice on sports injuries. Nicole waited 2 weeks. Then she asked him for coffee. Before their second date, she called me. Mom, I ran a background check on him. Is that crazy? That's smart. Frank had helped. The report came back clean, completely clean. Last night, Nicole brought Nathan to dinner. He arrived nervous, genuine. He brought flowers, daisies, simple. Mrs. Whitman, thank you for having me. Call me Barbara. He asked about my career with real curiosity. Encryption algorithms. That is amazing. How did you get into software? He asked about Nicole's day before he talked about himself. He drove an 8-year-old Honda Civic. He talked honestly about paying off student loans. Not once did he ask about the house, about money, about investments. After he left, Nicole and I sat in the kitchen. What do you think? I noticed he asked about your day first. He did. I noticed he brought flowers without trying too hard. She smiled. He's not Brennan. No, but Nicole, take your time. You have the right to be careful. I will, I promise. Sunday morning, we sat together in the basement office. The door was open. The biometric lock was still there, but Nicole had access now. I was teaching her about investing, the patent portfolio, the royalty reports, diversification strategies. I can't believe you kept this secret for so long. I thought I was protecting you. Now I realize the best protection is knowledge. I closed the laptop. Nicole looked around the room. You should still lock this place. Why? Because some doors should be locked, just not between us. I smiled. Agreed. We went upstairs for lunch. George, our neighbor, stopped by with soup. Community support, the kind that reminds you people care. Frank called to check in. How is she? She's strong, stronger than she knows. That evening, Nicole texted Nathan. She smiled at her phone. I watched her. I thought about Richard, about how close we had come to losing everything, but we had not lost. We had survived. I still locked that basement office, not because I do not trust my daughter, but because there are lessons worth remembering. And there are doors once opened that teach you exactly who should be kept outside and who should be let in. Looking back on everything that happened, I realize how close we came to losing it all. Not just the money, but each other. I kept secrets because I thought secrecy was protection. I was wrong. The best protection I could have given my daughter was the truth, knowledge, trust. Do not be like me. Do not wait until a predator marries into your family to have honest conversations with the people you love. Talk about money. Talk about boundaries. Talk about what real love looks like versus manipulation. These family drama stories teach us that silence creates vulnerability. My experience, like so many grandma stories you hear, shows that protecting our children sometimes means preparing them, not hiding things from them. God gave us intuition for a reason. That cold feeling in my chest the morning I caught Brennan, that was not paranoia. That was wisdom. The lesson I learned. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, investigate. Do not let politeness or fear of seeming paranoid stop you from protecting your family. And when you find the truth, act decisively. To anyone reading family drama stories like mine, remember professional con artists exist. They are skilled. They target good people. They marry into families. It is not your fault if you or someone you love gets targeted, but it is your responsibility to stay vigilant. My advice: verify before you trust. Protect your assets, keep records, run background checks if you must, and most importantly, keep communication open with your family. The doors between you and the people you love should never be locked. These grandma stories we share are not just entertainment, they are warnings. Family drama stories and grandma stories are lessons learned the hard way, so you do not have to learn them yourself. Final note: this content contains dramatized storytelling elements for educational purposes. Some details are fictionalized, but the lessons and messages are completely valuable. If this style is not for you, that is okay. Please seek content that better fits your needs.